Parshat Vayeitzei, Yaakov has this famous dream of the ladder with the angels ascending and descending over it. I actually think we have a hidden reference to Hanukkah here, and here's why. So if you look at the words, Yaakov wakes up and he says, Manorah hamakom hazeh. Well, if you actually listen to what you're saying, Manorah hamakom hazeh, menorah hamakom, Menorah is really similar to menorah, so you might think, Neely, that's a stretch. What are you even talking about? You think there's a hidden reference to Hanukkah in this week's Parsha? Well, let's read on and see what he talks about. Because the next second he says, and then he called this place the house of God, Beit El. What's the Hanukkah story about? The temple. What's the next thing he does? He sets up this altar and he pours oil over it. Why does it need to tell us that? He pours oil, like, the story of Hanukkah. And then it goes on to say, he called the place Beit El, but it used to be called Luz. Why do we need to know that? I don't know. Perhaps we might think that Luz sounds a lot like the Spanish word for light. And not only that, but if you look a few psukim earlier, he calls it the gateway to heaven. What's a gateway? Well, that's actually the chet, the starting letter of the word Hanukkah, the sign for infinity, that if you turn it on its side, it's an 8, like the 8 nights of Hanukkah. A lot of the sages will ask, what's the source of Hanukkah in the Bible? And the answers you might get, for example, from Book of Our Heritage are, it could be in Parshat Emor, it discusses the holidays, and then there's a hidden reference to Hanukkah after that, because it says then the Kohanim lit the menorah, which is cool. Rabbi Foreman brings an amazing one. He says that the reference to Hanukkah in the 5 books is the burning bush. That's awesome, because it burns and doesn't get consumed. But my friends, I think that the original source of Hanukkah in the 5 books of Moses is in this week's Parsha in Vayeitzei, where Yaakov wakes up from his dream in the month of dreams and says Manorah hamakom hazeh, like menorah, and then he calls it the house of God, which is where Hanukkah happens, and then he pours oil, and he calls it a gateway. And anyways, what's the ladder in the first place? It's a place where you're on the ground, but you still know that you can reach up to God and light up the whole world. And that is essentially the message of Hanukkah. What do you think?